are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WHOA GNV Podcast, the coronavirus sessions, where our temporary mission is to save as many businesses and jobs as possible by sharing how your fellow business owners and professionals are navigating the impact of COVID-19. I am your host, Collin Austin, and my co-host is Michael Dees, who is lagging on the Wi-Fi today. What's up, man?
I hope I'm not lagging too much. It's been, I don't know. Maybe it's the stock market that's making me lag right now. I know we were talking about this before we started recording. We're all kind of glued to this right now, but yeah, I mean,
You're
it's not one thing, it's another, right?
You're unstable, as Zoom likes to tell you, or the internet likes to tell you. How does that make you feel, Mike?
I am so unstable right now.
Georgia, who's on the show today, she commented, and they should use something else, right, Georgia? Like telling people they're unstable during this time?
Oh, yeah, this isn't a good time to tell people you're unstable. I think Zoom needs a different verbiage there.
That's so great. All right, you guys. Well,
I hope my face froze on a really weird spot.
Yeah, it did. So we're gonna get into today's show. But before we do, let's thank our sponsors. You guys, let's talk quickly about how the coronavirus has impacted your business. Maybe you realized you need a different kind of office space, or you have questions about your lease options, or maybe you've been thinking about buying or selling a commercial property, but you're not sure when to act. You guys, call the team at Colliers International Gainesville. They have the expertise and local experience to help you make the right decision for your commercial real estate needs. Check out their services at colliers.com/Gainesville. Dan Drodos and team, thank you so much for your support of this podcast. Really, really appreciate it. And you guys, I mean, there's going to be so much happening with the real estate side, commercial stuff here in the future. I think, our restaurant's going to downsize because of this thing. Our people, a lot of people have been remote working. Like, it's going to be interesting. You're going to have like bicycle shops, expanding for more inventory. And then you're going to have like office people going remote. I'm going to be super interested to see what's happening here. But when you're looking for that space, definitely reach out to our friends at Colliers International Gainesville. Again, that's colliers.com/Gainesville. Boom.
Right. I'm going to try to get through this read without too much lag. We also have our friends over at Gainesville Harley Davidson. Look, if you're looking to upgrade from a scooter that we sold you a while back to a beautiful new Harley Davidson motorcycle, give our friends at Gainesville Harley an email or call. You can email Emily at m@GainesvilleHarley.com. That's em@GainesvilleHarley.com, or call them at 352-331-6363. Also, side note, if you've never been out to their dealership, go check it out. It's absolutely beautiful. It's out by 39th and I-75. It's just awesome. Side note, I was driving home from the Panhandle this weekend, saw their beautiful billboard on I-10, Tallahassee Harley, now under new ownership. That's them. They were expanding. So mad props to them. They're our friends over there. Thank you for supporting us. And listeners, if you get a chance to support Gainesville Harley, please go see them. Tell them we sent you.
You're like a ventriloquist. How did you say that without moving your lips? Mike, for everybody who's listening, Mike's video.
I don't know, man.
Mike's video is not working right now. He's super laggy on our video version of this, but that's all right, man. All the audio came through nice and clear, so that was a good read, man. So and before we get into I want to go ahead and really quickly thank some of the people, because I promised I was going to give t-shirt shout outs to everybody who bought t-shirts on the website. If you want to buy a t-shirt, go to whoagnv.com. Just click our shop and you can buy an awesome sponsor t-shirt. We even have the hashtag GNV shirts have been extremely popular. But shout outs to Rich Maltby, Carl Henriksen, Amber Miller, Paul Prosakowski, Rachel Waka, Chris Floyd, and Adam Brewer, all vital parts to this community. Man, like all the businesses and support and nonprofits that are in that list right there. I mean, you guys, thank you so much for your support.
It's an all-star cast.
Yeah, all-star cast. There you go. So thank you for everything that you guys are doing for the community. Just absolutely appreciative of all of you guys. And we got to get into the show, man. We got to get this going because you notice I got the standing desk and I can jump up and down now. Because my friend Georgia Wooten of Crime Prevention Security Systems is on the show. Not only is she our guest today, but they have been one of our premier sponsors of the podcast in the first quarter of this year. It was absolutely awesome. We had a really cool creative video and everything. So Georgia, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for sponsoring our show. Thanks for all your support. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here.
And I know that Emily is a good friend of yours from Gainesville Harley, and they're sponsoring.
Emily is one of my favorite people on the planet. Emily with Gainesville Harley. I adore her. And I just saw her version of the WHOA GNV podcast, the coronavirus sessions, the other day. So it was really great to,
she did good,
to follow her.
She did good.
Tough back to follow. She did great.
So Georgia, like, talk to us. Tell us, how have things been at Crime Prevention Security Systems now that this thing has happened? I mean, those initial impacts, like what were they for you guys?
Well, it's interesting because at first we did not see a whole lot of impact. We were deemed essential right from the get-go. And so we took a very methodical approach day by day. We'd have daily communications with our management team, and we're headquartered here in Gainesville, but we have offices both in Jacksonville and in Orlando. And so we would do Zoom meetings, which we had been doing previously prior to the coronavirus outbreak. And, we would gather information from our local municipalities and what was going on with our customers in each of those locations and make strategic decisions along the way to decide how do we proceed for this day. And for a while, it was literally day by day. Now we've been able to get into a pretty decent groove with things, and we get together as a management team on a weekly basis and adjust as needed. But business has definitely changed in a lot of ways, and it's also stayed the same in others. And it's been a really interesting mix for us. The bulk of my workforce is out in the field. They're out at people's homes and in people's businesses, installing and servicing. So
real quick, just let our, I mean, I assume it's pretty, I mean, the name kind of explains what you do, but give everybody kind of the 30-second pitch, if you will, of your business, like the services you guys offer.
Yeah, so we are Crime Prevention Security Systems, and we've been in Florida for 45 years now, and we're one of the top 100 installing security companies in the country. We install, service, and monitor security systems, fire systems, we install camera systems, access control. And then we also have a pretty large entertainment division where we do whole home entertainment systems, anything from an individual TV to an integrated automated system.
Awesome. So sorry, I wanted you to get that piece in there so people understood like where you're going. But so you have multiple, so you guys have people kind of spread out all over the place, right? And
all over the state.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about, so how many team members do you guys have total?
We have 65.
65. So with people kind of spread out and with the service you guys are offering being one of those services where people really kind of need you, I mean, they got to go inside to install a security system, right? Or like, so, how has that been? I would assume that a lot of people are like, I really don't want strangers in my house right now. Like, are you having any of that? And how have you navigated that?
Well, what we've done, yes, there are some people who do not want us in their homes right now. And so one of the new services that we've rolled out is a Do It Together program. And I can talk about that a little bit later if you want to. But the other thing that we've done as far as what we do when we go into homes and businesses is we've always been really proactive about reaching out to our customers to confirm appointments, make sure they understand the expectations of what's going to happen when we're there. And that's just shifted a little bit to now include a health component, make sure that they understand that our employees are healthy, and we ask questions to ensure that we're sending our staff into a healthy home or business. And then, of course, we put in all the precautionary methods that everyone else is doing with masks and gloves and sanitizing and booties, just depending on what the situation is and where we're going. We do a lot on new construction as well. And so masks have been mandated in Alachua County and Osceola counties. So we're even wearing masks on construction sites, which honestly poses its own set of health risks as it gets hotter and into the summer months. So, we've just been in communication with our customers and made sure that they're comfortable with us coming out there. And if they're not, there's a lot of stuff that we can troubleshoot remotely if it's a service issue. And then we rolled out this Do It Together program. So we do have a way to, if somebody wants a new installation, but they are social distancing and don't want somebody in their home, we have a new option for that as well.
Cool. I mean, from the team aspect, do you think that, I'm kind of interested in how the remote processes work, like, because you have installers and stuff, right? So you still have people out in the field, but how many people, and do you have team members that are working remotely from home? And how have you navigated, the communication aspect, the team building aspect, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So we have a pretty small administrative staff. And so many of them have worked remote during this pandemic, and some of them are back in the office now. Some of them are working kind of a hybrid schedule where they're at home some days and in the office and others. And fortunately, we were already set up to do that. Our network and everything was open. It was an open platform enough to where we were able to pretty quickly pivot and set up remote employees. And we really made sure that the ones who were immunocompromised, that they were the first to have remote work setups. And then my sales team is able to do a lot of things virtually as well. They can, much like what we're doing right now, do a Zoom call and have a homeowner or business owner walk them through the property and make sure that they're addressing any areas of vulnerability. On the technical side, it gets a little more tricky because you have actual equipment that needs to be installed. But the technology in the security world has grown so much over the last several years that a lot of troubleshooting for service calls can be done remotely. And that's been the case for a long time now. So we can, if somebody's having any kind of issue, there's a lot of stuff we can do remotely anyway. But now we can do this Do It Together program, where essentially the way that the Do It Together program works is that we do a virtual sales call, and salesperson will walk through the home on a Zoom call or Skype or FaceTime, and then we'll get all the information, design the system for them, program everything for that particular home, and then send it out. We'll sanitize it and send it out and schedule a call where we have a technician actually walking the customer through the installation. The do-it-yourself model has really grown in popularity in the security industry in recent years, and it's terrified us, quite frankly, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong, whether it's equipment placement, communication with the panel, communication with the monitoring center. And this was a really nice way for us to kind of allow somebody to do the do-it-yourself, but have that safety net where we can help ensure that it's done properly and that they don't have the vulnerabilities that they're not expecting.
Yeah. Mike, you got questions, man?
Yeah, hopefully it won't take me too long to get it out on our feed here. But what has the demand been like? Has there been a shift there? Has it been increase, decrease?
For new installations, we've seen a decrease for sure. And we do a lot in new construction as well. And right now things are steady in new construction. However, in Orlando's our largest new construction market. And what we've seen is that a lot of the track builders that we work with don't have any new starts in the spec home realm. So while we're not seeing a slowdown yet, there's one coming for sure. And then in service, it's been relatively steady for us. And honestly, some of our commercial clients have wanted us out there to do some upgrades and service and whatnot while they didn't have as many clients and it wasn't as disruptive for us to be there. So it's been a mixed bag for us.
Yeah. What about with like current contracts, because I keep seeing this unemployment in contracts. I mean, like people who have, reoccurring service with you every month, right? Mm-hmm. I keep seeing this unemployment rate go up and up and up and people losing their jobs. I mean, are they have they called you guys and be like, I need to stop my service? Like, have you guys lost a lot of business because of people losing their jobs, or, you know, what's that been like? Yeah.
Yeah, we certainly have lost more business because of people losing their jobs, and their financial uncertainty in general. What we've tried to communicate, and we work with each customer individually. We'll work out some sort of payment arrangement or payment plan or deferment or something to try to retain them long term, because we do hope that and anticipate that this is short-lived, that we're all going to recover in some way, shape, or form. And one of the things that historically has happened is, as the economy goes down, crime tends to go up. And so it's been really important to meet our mission that we don't place our customers in a vulnerable spot because they happen to lose their job. So we've been really proactive about working with people to try to retain their business and retain their security and peace of mind, even if they lost their job.
Yeah. You know, and it's interesting that you say that in terms of like, I mean, what about just people being away from their businesses? You know, like I was just thinking, like, we, even in that first month, like we left our, you know, business, we put a sign on our door saying we're not here. You know, and so a lot of people even kind of not being around their businesses probably makes them a little bit more susceptible to a potential break-in and that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Yeah. And I agree with you in terms of like I think this is short-lived. You know, I think there's going to be things that are different in terms of like, sure, like maybe for the rest of 2020, people are wearing masks and, you know, we're keeping our social distancing and stuff. But I think that, you know, I don't know, June, July, like people are going to be out of their houses again and they're going to be going places, and they're going to, you know, I think it'll be different, but I think things are going to start to come back. And I even think a lot of the businesses that even like furloughed people or even laid off people are going to, you know, start coming back. I mean, I think a prime example is, you know, we talked to Jeff over at Exactech, you know, the other day, and, you know, and this is like you know, they make parts like these things for voluntary surgeries, right? And so you heard like immediately all voluntary surgeries were like done, like no voluntary surgeries, you know, but now that's starting to come back. And so, you know, like these things that just immediately got put on pause are now starting to come back. And I think that's going to be, I think it's just going to be growing case over the next several months. So I mean, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I expect.
Yeah, I agree.
The employment rate to get better, you know. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I do too.
2 cents.
Yeah, and you know,
the guy who knows nothing.
In watching the phase 1 reopening of Florida, there's a lot of data that suggests that Florida is handling the coronavirus well, especially in areas like Gainesville, where, you know, we've got a little more social distance just naturally built in. You know, places like Miami, certainly it's a little more difficult for them to open up. But I agree with you. I anticipate that we're going to start seeing more and more activity. I think people are getting tired of being home.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's time. And I think there's a shift too. You know, there was a lot of fear that was perpetuated, and rightfully so. I mean, there was just that initial what if. We were just bombarded with all of this fear, and now we have real data that we can look at and say, well, this is what's actually happening, and we can react to that. And that's almost, I mean, that engages a different part of the brain where we're more logical about our decision making, and I think it's helping to reopen things.
Yeah.
Do you have access to any kind of data that would indicate that as we've gone through this, the crime calls or reports of crime and stuff have gone up or down?
No, there have been a couple isolated instances in some of our other markets where we've seen, you know, like a rash of break-ins. One was in the Central Florida area where we saw a rash of break-ins. We have not seen that in the Gainesville area thus far. But just historically, when unemployment goes up and, you know, the economy goes down, that tends to be people get desperate, and, you know, breaking and entering tends to go up in particular.
You know, one thing that I'm interested in too is like, how has the response been from your team like from installer, like has there been any like paranoia about going into people's homes, or has there been any, any fear just from being out in the field at all, or it just seems like business as normal?
Most of my staff has been business as normal. They've been really comfortable with what we've put in place. We put in safety measures in place at the beginning of this, and it wasn't that much different from how we interacted in the past with clients. It was just a little bit more with PPE as we got our hands on it. But there were a few individuals who were very concerned about their personal health and safety. And if it was a technician, we tried to come up with a different work environment for them where they could do a little more remotely and not so much in the field, or they work strictly construction, which they really have very little contact. When we go into a construction site, there aren't a whole lot of other trades there at that point. So you can still get work done, but not necessarily be around a lot of people. So we would make accommodations for our field technicians as much as we could. And one of the things that became really important to us was making sure that we had regular contact with our customers. So for those people who felt uncomfortable being out in the field, we had them also making like customer care calls and just reaching out proactively to customers and making sure everybody felt comfortable with their system. That, if they had any questions or any troubleshooting that we could do remotely, we would do that for them. So, we made adjustments in that capacity. And then there are still admin staff of mine who are immunocompromised who are still home. And I anticipate they will be for the foreseeable future at this point.
Yeah. Sounds like you guys have done a pretty good job navigating this thing. How about like what's been the biggest out of everything? What would you say has been the biggest challenge, for you guys from the leadership standpoint?
That's a good question. At the beginning of this, just the constant shifting of information and trying to stay up on what the next step needed to be. And honestly, it was very hard not to get overwhelmed by all of the what ifs, and to instead focus on what's actually in front of us and how do we react to that information. So, while we had some contingencies in place for some of the what ifs that seemed very real to us at various points in this, I think the hardest thing was just staying focused and being present and making sure that we were making decisions that made the best sense for our customers, for our business, and for our team members. And on the flip side of that, the really cool thing is that, since we're in 3 different cities, it really forced us to come together and communicate more frequently, which was awesome. And we've been on a really good schedule, a consistent schedule throughout, where we're constantly touching base and making minor adjustments so that we can stay as nimble as possible with whatever happens to be thrown at us next.
Yeah, what's your primary way of doing that? Do you guys have like an internal system for communications between? Are you guys using Slack, or what's the tool being used for that communication?
We use Facebook Workplace.
Okay. You like Facebook Workplace?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay, but I got started on it and then mixed emotions about it.
Okay. Yeah, it's like I've never really
But nothing beats the face-to-face.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Black guy.
So I mean, you guys have been in business for 45 years. Is that what you said? Yeah. So 45 years.
Yep, 45 years
in business. I mean, it's easy for a little guy like me to look at that and be like, all right, they're stable. They've no problems. They've got this, 45 years in business, a long time. You feel pretty secure in that. Was there ever a moment of, oh my gosh, this could be the thing. This could be the, I mean, were you worried at first? Were you just super confident? What was your emotional state, if you will? And not only that, but of your family too, if you can speak on behalf of the family, because I know it's a family business. What was y'all's emotional state?
Yeah, so I'm the second generation of our family business, and my parents, John and Randy, they come into the office pretty much every day. My dad is still the major decision maker, and at first there was a, oh my God, what are we gonna do moment. There was a lot of fear. about whether we were going to be deemed essential and what that would mean to our business. And if we would be able to survive it as a business. So yeah, there was a lot of fear. And for me, I had a lot of anger at one point too. And I was, I personally didn't see the correlation between shutting everything down and preventing the spread of a virus. And so, it took a couple weeks for me to adjust to accepting this is what the new normal is, and, get back into the present moment. I got really wrapped up in the what ifs. And my dad was super level-headed, as he normally is. And he is very much the guy who takes things as they come and just deals with what's presented to him. And so he kept a lot of stability in our family. And I think we did a pretty good job too of not really communicating a whole lot of that fear to the team, and just, trying to be very as transparent with them as we could. And, fortunately, it's been a pretty smooth ride, and there have been some significant bumps through this coronavirus, but, I guess we've just got a good shock system right now.
It makes me think, like, cause I kind of went.
Is that the right car analogy? I don't know.
I went through very much a similar thing. Like, cause I went into this early phase of what ifs, and a lot of the what ifs were super negative. It was just like, man, like, what if we don't survive this? Like, what if school doesn't start in the fall? I was like so focused on all these negative things. And then I just started, I don't know, like, I think these helped a lot of these sessions from other business owners and talking to friends and stuff. They were like, like, okay, yeah. So what if school doesn't, I kind of just transitioned to like, okay, like, what if school doesn't start in the fall? Like, how are we going to make money? Like, how will we adjust to that situation if that's the case? And I think our team, we've done a really good job of kind of talking that through, haven't we, Mike? And trying to prepare for that as best as possible.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. I think one thing we've also had a discussion about an interesting time, and she hit on it a minute ago, is how do you toe that line between transparency and wanting to bring your team up to date, but also not making them fearful? Because I think that's something that a lot of businesses, and us included, have had an interesting go of it with, because you don't want them to be afraid. You don't want them to fear like, they're going to be in the unemployment line tomorrow, but you also want to be transparent and make sure that they understand what the expectations are and how things are going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Georgia, you have any comments on that?
It's a difficult line to toe. I mean, and that's in this situation and in every situation as a business owner, because you're there to instill confidence in your team, and yet they've got to have enough information to know that you're not full of it. So
the reality is like this. You're like, oh my gosh, are we gonna survive this thing? Like, I don't know. And you're just like breaking down, and then you're just like, oh, yeah, guys, we got this. We're good. We're gonna figure it out. Oh my God! Like the emotional roller coaster, the back and forth between, and I think I saw Kim Kalp say something about it. I was like, or she messaged, I don't know what it was, but it's just like the emotional roller coaster going back and forth of like, we got this. We're gonna do this. Like, I'm pumped. I'm excited about the challenge to the low the next day.
The tears in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Help me, please. I just want to make it. It's just like, there's no in between. It's like one end of the spectrum or the other. So, because I've definitely had the days where I'm like, man, I'm going to show the world. We've got this. Like, let's go.
Chip on the shoulder.
Yeah, but man, it's definitely been a challenge. And I definitely with the transparency of the team, I don't want to make false promises. I've said that multiple times. Like, I don't want to tell my entire team everything's going to be just fine. Like, you don't have to worry about losing your job. You guys are good. Like, I don't want to lie. But I also want to keep that confidence, right? Keep them being like, okay, like, this is going to be a challenge, but this team can get through it. And so far we've done an excellent job. I would give our team an A. Mike, I think the other day said like a C plus, but
I said I'd give myself a B minus, but I was
yourself.
I just didn't want to come across as like braggadocious or anything. The team is fantastic.
Yeah, no, the team has been doing a really excellent job of going with the flow, and really, and like you said, communication. I think communication's been at a all-time high. So, awesome. Georgia, like,
our team's been great too.
Let's do this, because I know you guys are so invested into the community. I know it's one of the reasons why you even supported our show, is like just super invested into the things that we were doing, and I'm so grateful for y'all's support.
Thank you.
But like, how about from like just an organization that has been in the Gainesville community so long, like maybe you can offer like a little advice or a little encouragement or whatever you would like just to our Gainesville community to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, sure. I think it all goes back to the concept of what is driving you and driving decisions. And this was the thing that I struggled with at the very beginning of this. Is it fear, or is it some other motivation? Is it your actual mission? And for us as a company, when we really focus on life safety, then we do our best work. And when the team rallies around our mission, then we do our best work. When we're overwhelmed by fear and by the what ifs, then it becomes just like this monster that you can't get out of the room and get away from. And so I'm not necessarily offering advice. I'm just saying that with my experience, the one thing that I had to overcome was all of the fear of the what ifs, and just focus on what's actually in front of me, and deal with the here and now, and make decisions on the real information, and, communicate and rally together over here's where we actually are and here's where we want to be, and continue just moving that needle forward in the direction of our mission and our vision.
Love it. Love
Thanks.
it so much. So why don't you tell our audience where they can connect with you, where they can keep their businesses and homes safe? What's the best way to reach out to you guys?
So our phone number is 352-376-1499. It's a local number. And then you can find us online at cpss.net. And then we're also on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn.
Awesome. cpss.net. I've said that several times. You can find the little signs all over town.
That's all right.
I love it. So, Michael, any final thoughts before we wrap this up, my man?
Nah, not really. I did want to say from a personal note, just thank you for your support of our podcast. It means the world. I get to read these sponsorships every now and then. Collin will let me do one, and I've enjoyed, all the help we get from our partners. But you guys have been a tremendous support, and so I just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love what you guys are doing and what you do for Gainesville businesses. So thank you. You do tremendous work for this community. So I'm grateful for you.
Thank you.
And there you go, Gainesville world, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Definitely support our sponsor, Crime Prevention Security Systems, and support Georgia and her family and this awesome business. And let's just continue to stay strong, everybody. We're going to get through this. It's been so encouraging for me to hear all of the advice coming from our local business owners and seeing everybody really pull through this. So I am inspired. I'm encouraged. And I know that we're all going to be okay. So stay strong. This is the WHOA GNV podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa.
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 We will see you later. Bye.